Today on the Brad Link, we're talking all about how to make sure that your photographer gets all the photos that you want. First and foremost, when you're picking your photographer, you need to make sure that the style that they use is similar to the style of the photos that you like. From light and airy to dark and moody, there's a lot of different photography styles to choose from, and it's really rare that a photographer is going to change their style to match your expectations. So when you're hiring somebody, talk to them about the style that they use. You're also going to want to talk to them about the types of photos that they take. Some photographers are better with candid shots, while others do more posed, formal pictures. Some prefer to capture all the details like you see on Pinterest and focus mostly on that, while others are really going to focus on a lot of emotions and people. Talk to your photographer about what type of photos that they're going to take for you and make sure it matches what your expectations are. You should do all of this before you even decide to hire someone. Next, you're going to want to talk to them about whether or not they use a second shooter. Some photographers don't need a second shooter, and they can explain to you why, especially if you have a smaller guest count, a really easy venue, no wedding party. But some really need a second shooter to be able to catch different angles and poses and maybe be in two places at once. So talk to your photographer about whether or not you're going to need one for your wedding and see if they have one available with the packages that they offer. Second shooters can be really important if they're needed. Now, the next key to getting great photos is to make sure you have plenty of time. If you're going to skimp on your photography package and get a 5 or 6 hour package compared to an 8 or 10 hour package, you need to make sure that your expectations reflect that. Don't put too much pressure on your photographer to get 8 hours worth of work completed in 5 hours worth of time. Also, in your timeline, you need to be really realistic about the amount of time that things are going to take and give yourself plenty of time to take all of your photos. Take into account when guests are going to arrive, what time things are going to be set up, what time the bouquet is going to arrive, so that way you have all of your details in place when your timeline says it's time to take your pictures. Also, you should really make sure that your hair and makeup is done on time for you and your bridesmaids, and that the groomsmen are going to arrive on time, dressed and ready. For family photos, it's really important to list who you want to be in family pictures, especially if you're going to have multiple types of photos. So like one with your grandmother, your mom, and yourself, another one with your grandmother and your grandfather, and then another one with your grandfather, your grandmother, your mom, and yourself. You can see how that can get complicated, and looking at the type of family pictures that you want, creating a list of who's going to be in the pictures, and maybe even exactly what the lineup is for each photo can really help streamline the process. You should expect for at least 2 minutes to happen for each photo that you take with posed family portraits. So that means if you're planning on getting 10 different pictures, you need about 20 minutes just to wrangle all the people, get them to stand in the right place, put them in the right pose, and make sure they're all smiling at the right time. Giving yourself plenty of time to take these photos is imperative to allowing your photographer time to get all the pictures that you want. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to talk about is how you pose. You can talk to your groom about making sure that you guys are comfortable the day of, that you're not too nervous, and also make sure that you do things like wrap your arms around each other and get close in pictures. It might feel a little too close, but in photos you can really see the gaps between the couples. Your photographer should be able to help direct you on how to be posed. You can also talk to your bridesmaids and groomsmen about how they're going to stand. Since bridesmaids have bouquets that usually helps them figure out what to do with their hands, but making sure that they are in a relaxed, natural position and not holding a bouquet super tight up to their face will make your pictures better. And for groomsmen, I would usually choose a default pose, so if they don't know what to do with their hands, they can figure something out. Usually we say to do hands right over left, left over right, behind their backs, which I don't really love, or if they like sweaty palms, in their pockets. That'll allow them to stand in a nice streamlined line and look right and correct in pictures. And then also you can tell them to hold their hands that way during the ceremony too, so that way they're not fidgeting around. Now, before posing for your pictures, make sure you look nice and relaxed, and then also that your makeup's not smeared, you're not too sweaty, and if you have a long train on your dress, you want to make sure that somebody is in charge of constantly fixing it, because it can mess up and show the underbelly of your gown. For more expert wedding planning advice, and more ways to have a stress-free wedding planning experience, you can follow us at The Bride Link.